All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to today's video. In today's video, we'll be reviewing the Kingroon KLP1 3D printer. They sent me this 3D printer and a couple of rolls of their filament to try out and to let you guys know what my experience is with it. They haven't compensated me for this video. They haven't had any editorial control over it either. So today we'll go over all of the features and everything that they claim on their website. We'll go ahead and unbox it and set it up, and I'll show you how hard or easy it is. They sent me some of their cool multicolored PLA silk filament. So we'll go ahead and test that out on a benchy. We'll open up Orca Slicer. We haven't done that in a while, so we'll go ahead and open up Orca Slicer and get this thing ready for printing on there. And we'll print one of our benchies and one of our samples. So if all that sounds good, then sit back and relax and I'll get everything ready. All right, so let's get everything out of the box and see what we're working with. All right, so we got everything out of the box. Let me pull out the instructions and we'll start putting it together.
All right, so the first three steps are removing screws that are holding it into place on the X, Y, and Z axis and on the bed there on step 3. And what's cool is they have arrows pointing to everything. So I need to remove that one first to get to the second one here so I can move this a little bit and get to that one. And then I can remove those down there. And they do have a cool little pack of tools right there. But I did find that the blue one of the one that I recommend below works with this one as well. So I'll go ahead and get those removed and then we'll move to the next step.
So this screw actually needs the gold 2mm.
All right, so the next step is to put board 1, 2, and 3 on. So they call it a board on the side here, but these are the side panels 1, 2, and 3. And then you use this pack of screws here to put it together. So I'll get those all put on and I'll see you when that gets done. All right, here it is all put together. And it's kind of cool. The little screens right here. It has a little touch screen in there. And this is running the Clipper firmware. So let me go ahead and get it connected to my internet, and then we'll take a look at it in Orca.
All right, so I went ahead and switched this to the blue color just by selecting here. And then I selected generic PLA and there and loaded our famous Nimitz benchy. So let's go ahead and slice this, see how long it's going to take. Right at an hour and a half. So let's go ahead and hit print and see what this guy looks like. All right, while we're waiting for the benchy to print, let's go ahead and take a look at the website here, and you'll see the price here in the US as of today and some of the different things that it claims that it can do. Now, we did just pull it out of the box and start printing a benchy, so we haven't done everything that it's probably recommended to do, but we'll see how it fares with that. A lot of people don't like to fuss with it that much. So it does have high-speed printing and movement, active vibration compensation, and linear rail guide, and an all metal hot end. And it is enclosed, and it does, some of the cool printer materials. You'll see that it uses the Clipper software and board. It is you can connect it over Wi-Fi, which is awesome, and it does the auto bed leveling and everything. You can read all about this. I'll leave the link in the description below. But high-speed benchy here. It's supposed to be high-quality prints. Just gives you a little bit of a idea of how long each of these take to print. And I found it very easy to connect to Orca Slicer on my computer right away, but it shows that there's different ways that you can connect to it. Anything that you can control Clipper based thing with that. The bed size is pretty small, 210 by 210 by 210, but the whole box doesn't take up a whole lot of space. This is everything that was included in the box. It does say slicing software, Cura, Slice, and Host, whatever, but it also has a Kingroon Orca slicer settings. So let's go ahead and download those settings. We'll see that it has several versions on here as well, so we'll make sure to get the latest version. And you'll see in here it has all of the different things that you can use in here: ABS, PETG, standard, 0.2 millimeter nozzle, which is most likely what I will use. So I'll use this 0.4 nozzle, kind of generic one right here. And let me download that. And then let's load it into Orca. All right, so now how we'll import those configs in here is just by going to File, Import, Import Configs, and then selecting that configuration that we just downloaded. And there's one config imported, only non-system incompatible configs. So we'll hit OK. And now it should be configured for our machine. All right, so as you can see, that filament looks really, really cool with the benchy. So now let's do our sample here, and I will turn the speed all the way up on the device through the slicer here. So let's go ahead and slice our sample. And a little over 40 minutes to get it done. So let's go ahead and send that to the printer. We'll upload and print. And then when it starts printing, I'll go ahead and speed it up. And now that it's printing, let's go ahead and move this all the way up. And let's see what happens. All right, so here we are on their filament page for the dual color silk PLA, but it's actually tricolor silk that I'm printing with now, which is this one right here. And a lot of these are tricolor. And you'll see a couple dual colors in here. But the filament looks really, really good, as you saw in the benchy. And they do have other types of filament: rapid PLA, normal PLA, PETG, rainbow, TPU, ABS, and then printer resin if you use that. But I will say I'm really impressed with this one. This one also looks really cool. Some of these other ones look really cool too. So definitely give them a try here. I'm really impressed with the filament. All right, take a look at this benchy. It looks so cool. It's purple on one side and kind of green on the other. Turned out really cool. I will say I'm way more impressed with the filament than anything else. It printed out really, really good. Now, as for the printer itself, the good part about it is it does connect to Orca Slicer really, really easy. You can basically put it together and print right out of the box. I mean, I didn't change anything other than just selecting a clipper printer, and I put in the IP address of the printer on there, and we printed out the benchy, and it turned out really, really good. I mean, this is probably the coolest benchy that I've printed so far, probably because of the filament. But it did print pretty fast, not as fast as the printer behind me, but it was fairly fast. Now, when I printed out the sample and printed that at 200% or whatever in the software there, it's not the best print in the world. But for prototyping, it would be completely sufficient. And generally, those really high speed ones like that, you don't want that for finished products. You want to use that for prototyping and things like that. And it did turn out really, really good for that at the high speed. So it did, print at the high speed. It is fairly small. That's probably the bad It came in simple Chinese, which is a little bit of a bad. And I would say the ugly piece of it is it does have a touch screen that you have to use this pen on. And I'm not a huge fan of that. But once I got it placed into English, once I connected it to my Wi-Fi, you really don't need to mess with that screen anymore, other than doing calibrations and loading and unloading filament, which it's not that big of a deal for there. So otherwise, really impressed with the printer. Way more impressed with the filament. Their tricolor PLA silk. Run out there and buy you a couple of rolls of that. It's not a bad price either for 2 kilograms for $45. That's not too bad for a tricolor PLA, and it turns out really good. And like I said, this is the coolest benchy that I've ever printed. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. If you're here in the US, it'll be Thanksgiving. Be sure to join me for a special 2+ hour live stream this weekend after Black Friday on Saturday. And I will see everybody then. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.